Welcome back. 2 events have gone in this 2007 United Kingdom Strongman competition. There's everything to play for. But not everybody is firing on 6 cylinders.
Leslie, 2 events down. Are you happy with your performance so far today?
Well, not so much in the squat. I should have done better, but it was just the stance got me and the depth. But the log, I was quite happy with the log, brand new log, so you don't know what might vary off from one side, the weight, but quite happy so far. But to be honest, I don't think I'll make the final. But what can I say? Anything can happen in the other 2 events.
Well, it certainly can, and that next event is the giant anchor pull. Let's learn a little bit more about that from Gary.
Yeah, this is a huge 360 kilo anchor and chain. They have to pull it along the course, 25 meters, using arm and leg power only. Faster time wins.
It is tough. The friction between the anchor and the ground is considerable as well, and also control of the rope, because if you let the rope go slack and don't control it with rhythm, then you can get yourself into a little bit of bother. We're looking for Leslie Steele and Andy Kearney to come forward first.
Keep it away from your mouth, man.
We'll see who comes forward. Yes, there's Kearney. There's Steele on the right of the picture now, just coming into situ. There he is. Now then,
1, 2.
Leslie Steele.
Second up, all the way
What will
from
he
Scotland.
do now? It's hand over hand, but you've got to really get control of this rope. It's a difficult rope actually to hold. Andy Kearney comes along to join him from Scotstoun in Glasgow. Now then, they'll sit back. They have to sit. They can't pull against the rope. They've got to sit there.
Athletes ready?
Here we go. Well, Leslie Steele is having a real problem with this. He's doing all right at the moment. He's got it moving just. You can see what I mean about the control of the rope. You've got to be so quick down it to actually get the rhythm of pull so that you don't have slack rope.
You've got to try and keep that rope as tight as you possibly can. If you get any slack in it, your hands get all lost and you lose control. But the problem with this one is lactic acid burns up. Very, very difficult event.
It certainly will, not only in the arms but in the legs as well, and in the abdominal muscles. We often forget the abdominal muscles, and they're very important to this system. He's had it. Leslie Steele is pulled out, can't handle it anymore, and you've got a 90-second time limit on this pull, incidentally. So what will happen to Leslie Steele is they'll measure the distance he pulled it if he doesn't complete it. And Andy Kearney, they all found that pretty tough. Look at that look on his face. He'd had enough by the end, I tell you. He really had it enough, Leslie Steele, and so had Andy Kearney. They found that very, very hard. That anchor was not moving very fast anywhere.
Second up from England,
Rich Gorvin
Simon Flint.
and Simon Flint. Simon Flint being introduced. You can hear that in the background. Just wait for the introductions to come forward. Well, they've already been completed, so we'll join it. So Flint on the left, back with his baseball cap. They'll sit down. Now then. He's got to sit. He's got to sit as Richard Gorvin. Tell him he's got to sit.
Athletes ready?
So here goes the pull, and those anchors starting to move now. Look at the way they come forward and quickly get the hands down the rope and to pull it and get momentum. If you can actually keep the anchor going, then you've got less momentum and inertia to overcome. And that makes it a little bit easier, but these are pulling hard.
Yeah, they're doing well. As you've already said, I mean, you've got the friction of the road as well on the anchor and chain, which makes it just as hard. But these are flying.
Well, that's a very, very good performance indeed by Gorvin, and Flint still going. He gets beaten there by Gorvin quite clearly, but that was much, much quicker, wasn't it? Gorvin 24.23 and Flint 27.75. We're getting into the business end now of this competition. Now then, let's have a look and see who we got here. We've got Dave Meir, of course, in front of you there, and then Jimmy Marcoux. And these 2 fellas will complete it. There were 6, of course, having eliminated 2 from the previous round. Now Marcoux and Meir. Now I'd expect, looking at what Marcoux has done, lifting the car, the 5-car lift, and all of those things that demand great power, I would expect his anchor to be going very, very quickly indeed. But it is, it's slightly in the lead. Look at this, it's almost a continuous pull, and that's a very good technique by Marco, it really is.
If you can see, look, it's very dynamic. Legs, back and arms working in unison, doing a really good pull with a very fast time.
Yeah, there's Dave Meir under a little bit more stress, I would think. Look at this, there's a big advantage now with Jimmy Marco. He's going to extend his lead, isn't he? He's becoming very quickly the favourite overall for this. He really is. Oh, look at this. That's over the line, but certainly Marco over Meir, but that was quick, wasn't it? 21.9 to 29.53. The big fella couldn't match Jimmy Marco, and Marco extends his lead even further. Maximum points, 6 for him. There's the evidence. Gorvin second looking, 24.23. Flint third, 27.75. Well, there's the overall standings. Look at that lead. Jimmy Marco well in advance of Dave Meir and Simon Flint, 47.5.
Well, this is where the Titanic was actually built, and we are standing right here. It took 62 seconds for the Titanic to get from this point into the water at the end of the slipway. With me is Una Riley. And Una, a massive project. Just how big exactly was it?
Titanic was the biggest man-made moving object to be built at the time, and she was built for comfort and style, not for speed. And she was a wonderful achievement for the city of Belfast. Came from the biggest shipyard in the world, Holland and Wolff, and here on this site would have been the Aral Gantry, which was the biggest gantry in the world. Everything about it was huge, and it was a fantastic achievement.
Why are we so proud about a boat that is most famous for sinking? I've got to ask you that.
Yes, no, that is true, and that is a fair question. But the reason why we're so proud of her is because she was a fantastic ship. She came from the Cape Canaveral of its time here in Belfast. And what happened to Titanic was a disaster. She was not. She was built to the highest specification of her time. Her steel was the very best of that period. She was a very safe ship. Just happened to be a very tragic accident. I'm not blaming anyone.
What does it say about the skills of the workmen and the skills of this Belfast shipyard about the way that Titanic was built here? Because in those days, of course, technology was nowhere near as advanced as it is now. It really was an amazing achievement.
It really was indeed. And you have to remember the Titanic was 50% bigger than the next larger ship, which was the Lusitania and the Mauretania. She was designed for luxury. She was the most luxurious ship afloat. She was the first ship to have a swimming pool on board. She had escalators, lifts, and the thing about it is that it was local men here in Belfast who were living in the little houses round East Belfast with outside toilets and things, and they were building ships with swimming pools in them. Belfast was buzzing around 1912, and we hope to bring all of that back to Belfast and recreate what was here at the beginning of the 20th century back again at the beginning of the 21st century.
Well, let's go and see where the plans were drawn up.
Right.
So, Una, what exactly happened in here?
Well, this is the very room where the idea, conceived in London, to build the biggest ships in the world was completed here on paper. The plans were drawn up, and then through the window is where she was finally constructed in steel.
Well, what exactly were the emotions in Belfast? I mean, 13 days after she set sail, she sank. It must have had a huge effect on that community.
Amazingly so, and it has taken us all of 80 years to get over that. When she sailed away thousands of people came out to see her sail away, and she was sent away with the hope and the pride of the people of the city who had constructed her. And when the news arrived back that she had sunk, it was just unbelievable. People couldn't take it in, but now we're beginning to pick up our pride in the building of this ship. It was an amazing creation, and let's be proud of that we were able to do that.
So what exactly are the plans for commemoration?
The plans are to recreate the skyline that was here in 1912 again, and it'll be very unique to Belfast, so that when you either fly into Belfast or come up the loch in the ferry, you will know you've arrived in Belfast because you will see the Titanic. The plans are to put a ghost ship, a skeleton of Titanic out of tensile steel in the Thompson dry dock, which is Titanic's footprint, where she was fitted out. And the rest is to restore onto the slipway the gantry building, which was the biggest gantry in the world. So Belfast will be celebrating Titanic with something that was there at Titanic's time. So we aren't recreating fantasy. We are just bringing back what Belfast had, and it'll be very different, very unique. And by 2012, the place to come for any part of the Titanic story will be Belfast.
Good luck.
Thank you. We're going to need it, but it's going to happen.
Just one event to go then, the human link. Join us to discover which 4 men go through to the final.